I don't really share this story anymore. I used to do so back when it was fresh and I still thought someone would believe me. But after enough eye rolls and half-hearted, maybe it was just in animal comments, I stopped. Still, it happened. And I remember everything. Every sound, every shadow, every godforsaken second. It was late October 2019. My girlfriend at the time, Mara, and I had been planning a quiet weekend getaway. We both worked stressful jobs. She was in accounting, I was in web dev, and we needed a break. Somewhere with no emails, no phones, no neighbors. Just us, trees, and maybe a wood-burning stove. Mara found a listing on Craigslist. It looked perfect. Small but cozy, deep in the Washington woods near Mount Rainier. The photos showed a fresh red cabin with white trim, new windows, a porch swing, even flower boxes. The kind of place you'd see on a postcard. It had this old-school charm without looking rundown. And it was cheap, almost too cheap. $100 for the whole weekend. Cash only. That should have been the first red flag. But we were excited and broke and tired of screens. So we booked it. The guy renting it called himself Greg. That's all. No last name. He sounded older, maybe 50s. Gave off hippie vibes over the phone. Told us he'd leave the key under a potted plant by the door and to just make ourselves at home. We packed light. Blankets, snacks, firewood, and 2 bottles of cheap wine. The drive from Seattle took about 3 hours. About 20 minutes from the cabin, we lost signal, which wasn't unexpected, but still left a pit in my stomach. Mara had printed directions, so we followed them like it was 1999. We joked about it. Guess it's the only one, I said, chuckling. Mara was more quiet. She just nodded and kept driving. The road beyond the sign wasn't really a road. It was more like a path. Dirt, ruts, overgrown branches slapping the windshield. We inched forward in my Subaru for what felt like forever. Then we saw it, the cabin. But it wasn't the one from the pictures. This one was gray, weathered. The paint had peeled off decades ago. The windows were boarded up. Not just dirty boarded. No swing, no flower boxes. The porch was sagging, and one of the steps had collapsed in on itself. It looked abandoned. Or worse, like someone had tried very hard to keep something in. We stopped the car. Is this it? I asked, hoping Mara would say no. She pulled out the printout, compared the photo to the structure in front of us. It was the same. Same chimney. Same rock formation behind it. Same crooked fence on the left side. But in the photo, it had been new, bright, alive. Now, it looked like it had died and no one had told it. This is it, she whispered. This is the one from the listing. We sat there for a minute, engines still running. The sun was already dipping behind the trees. That part of the forest gets dark early. Shadows were starting to stretch across the yard like they were reaching for us. I got out of the car, walked slowly to the front steps. Leaves crunched under my boots, and the air smelled wrong. Not like rot, exactly. More like wet rust. Like old blood and pennies. The front door had deep gouges in it. Long ones. For parallel lines, like claw marks. They ran from the top of the door frame all the way to the bottom. I turned to Mara. Are we sure we want to stay here? She got out, clutching the printout. It's got to be some kind of mistake. Maybe the photos were taken years ago. I reached under the pot. The key was there. Cold, heavy, rusted. I didn't want to use it. But we'd driven 3 hours. Had no signal. No service. No plan B. So I unlocked the door. It creaked open like it hadn't moved in months. Inside, it was pitch black and smelled of mildew and something sweet, like decaying fruit. We explored room by room. The living room had a broken couch covered in plastic and a fireplace filled with soot and cobwebs. The kitchen had a rusted-out sink, a fridge with the door half off its hinges, and a table set for 2, complete with dusty plates and silverware. It was like someone had set the table, then never returned. The worst part? The back door was open. Not wide open, just slightly ajar, swaying in the breeze. I stepped outside onto the back deck. The trees behind the cabin were dense. I couldn't see more than 10 feet into them, but I felt watched. Not like there's a bear nearby watched. I mean intelligent eyes. Tall, patient, waiting. I turned to tell Mara we were leaving, and that's when we heard it. A footstep upstairs. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Mara froze. Was that? Yes, I said. Yes, it was. We backed out together, slowly, flashlights shaking in our hands. As we crossed the threshold, I swear I heard a second footstep. Louder, closer. We didn't lock the door, just ran to the car and slammed the doors. We sat there, engine on, breathing hard. That's when Mara noticed something. She held up the printout and stared at the listing photo. The porch, the red paint, the flowers. They're fake, she whispered. I mean, they were never real. Look, she showed me the photo. And now that I looked closely, I saw it too. The flower boxes were duplicated, cloned. The red paint had digital smears near the window. The photo had been edited, badly, like someone had used Photoshop and hoped no one would notice. But we had. We turned the car around and drove back up the trail. Except it wasn't there I swear to you. The path we had just driven down for half a mile was gone. No opening, no broken branches, just a solid wall of trees. We stopped the car, got out, walked up and down the road for half an hour. Nothing. Eventually, Mara cried. Not loud, just quiet tears. I don't know how long we drove before GPS came back. We found a motel an hour away. Paid in cash. Slept with the lights on. The next morning, I called the number from the Craigslist listing. It was disconnected. We tried to find a listing again. It was gone, completely scrubbed, like it had never been posted. Out of curiosity, or maybe a need to prove we weren't crazy, we went back a few days later, this time with a ranger. We explained everything. The turnoff, the sign, the cabin. He looked skeptical, but agreed to come. We drove slowly, eyes scanning every tree, every bend, but the sign was gone. The turnoff was gone. The cabin was gone. We even checked satellite view. Nothing but trees. I still have the printout. I keep it in a drawer with old receipts and passwords. Not because I need a reminder, but because sometimes I need proof that we weren't crazy. That it was there. That night still haunts me, not just because of the cabin or the footsteps. It's what Mara said as we left the motel that morning. She'd been quiet for hours, staring out the window. Then she whispered, "What if we did stay? What if the us who stayed never left?" I don't have an answer, and I don't go into forests anymore. Not because I'm afraid I'll find that cabin again, but because I'm afraid it might find me.